5 things that I learned in my ENT rotation as a GP trainee. Guys, hi everyone, I'm Dr. Arora. I'm a GP now in full-time medical education at Arora Medical Education. And when I was a GP trainee, when I found out I was doing ENT, I wasn't the most happy person in the world, if I'm being honest. I'd never really seen the benefit of ENT. Why do I need to do it? I'd much rather do something else, psychiatry, for example, which I didn't do. But actually, I came out learning 5 massive things that really helped me when I went into GP land slightly later in training. The first thing I learned, I think, is I appreciated the vast network of symptoms and presentations that come when it comes to ENT. It's just the ears and nose and throat, right? But so many things come from that, and so many problems are faced by people. The impact of ENT symptoms is so much bigger than I thought it would be, and I really understood this in my ENT rotation. So when I went back to general practice, when people came with sore throats and ear pain and things that I might have thought were actually a little bit small, because I'd seen the impact and how they'd gone through certain processes with other patients when I was in my ENT rotation, and what those eventual small symptoms actually led to and the problems they caused long term, it really changed the way that I approached looking at a sore throat or ear pain in primary care. Number 2, the most practical thing I learned in ENT was otoscopy. Before I started ENT, I had no idea what I was doing when it came to looking in ears. Yeah, I'd have a look, I'd have the light on. Am I looking at normal, abnormal? Is there a problem? Can I actually see what I'm supposed to see? I had no clue. But by the end of my 4-month rotation in ENT, I knew what I was doing. So when people came in general practice and came in with that ear pain or that ear discharge, I was confident to have a look in there and see, am I missing anything big? Is there anything that I need to be doing something urgent for? Or is this something that can be put down to something normal that I can try and treat myself that may end up being relatively common? But had I not done my ENT rotation, I don't know what I would have been looking at when I was in primary care, and I don't know what I would have been treating. And half the time, I'm sure I'd have been looking at the thing opposite to what I thought I was looking at. So if you're doing ENT, make sure you nail down otoscopy. Number 3, tonsils. Gosh, I had no idea how many conversations, consultations, and discussions I'd be having with patients and patients' parents, relatives, about tonsils in primary care. Now, the time that I spent in ENT helped me so much to understand the nuances of those types of discussions. Yes, you can learn the guidelines, we can know when to refer, when not to refer, what the indications for tonsillectomy are. Yes, all that stuff, yes, I learned in ENT, but I could have learned that without doing ENT. But what I did learn is the way that you have those conversations, the way you counsel, the way you look at health beliefs, the way that you turn around people's views, not because you don't want them to have an operation or because you don't think it's the right thing for them, but because you go through the process of understanding what's going in their mind, what their underlying beliefs are, and how changing those can have an impact on those sometimes very difficult consultations in primary care. So tonsillectomy, tonsillitis, counseling, I 100% understood by the time I came out of my rotation. Number 4, dizziness. Oh my gosh, when I think back to how I used to approach dizziness before my ENT rotation and how I started to approach dizziness after my ENT rotation, they are worlds apart. Like, dizziness used to really scare me. I do a lot of teaching for RCA and AKT and PLAB2 and all these kind of exams, and the presentation of dizziness or questions about dizziness are kind of heart sinks because there's so much. There's eyes, there's neuro, there's ear stuff. There's so many things you've got to think about when it comes to that presentation. But actually, in my ENT rotation, I nailed down an approach. So when I came to dizziness in primary care, yes, you may only have 8, 10, 12, 15 minutes, but you've got to make it work. And I learned how to weed things out very quickly, how to go down certain directions very quickly, so I didn't spend half an hour trying to uncover dizziness when actually there's something that could be done in within 5 or 10 minutes. So if you're doing ENT and dizziness scares you, and I know it does for a lot of people, and I know it does for exams as well, try and nail down in that time an approach to dizziness. That's what I did, and I felt so much more confident afterwards. And number 5, probably the most valuable thing I did in ENT was attend as many emergency ENT clinics as I could. Now, of course, I was rotated in for a lot of them, but I used to go to a few additional ones as well, because those are the places that I learned so much about that primary secondary care interface and what can be actually done in primary care, and that we can actually do probably more than we thought. But secondary, what is the limit line? Like, when do I need to refer someone to an emergency ENT clinic? And that boundary was quite fuzzy for me beforehand, but afterwards, because I'd attended so many emergency ENT clinics, I had that balance pretty much on tap. So when I saw something in primary care, A, I had the confidence that I could do things that I learned from that clinic, but B, I knew, okay, this is a bit where I need to stop now, and I need to get them referred rather than referring everybody or trying to deal with everything in primary care. So if you're doing ENT, make sure you get to as many emergency ENT clinics as you can, not just turn up, understand things, do little procedures, and figure out what can I do when I go back out of this setting, back into primary care. So 5 super quick things that I learned in my ENT rotation, and hopefully you will get the value out of these as well. If you're not doing ENT, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. We've got another video somewhere about not getting the rotations that you want in GP training. It's fine, you can learn a lot of these things in primary care, but if you are doing ENT, grab the opportunity and try and get some of these things done just like I managed to in my 4 months. To recap, I understood ENT symptoms inside out and the impact that they can have. Number 2, otoscopy. I really got used to doing this. I knew what I was doing by the end. Number 3, tonsils. I soaked up as much as I could about tonsil type counseling discussions. Number 4, dizziness. I had an approach to dizziness before I came out of my ENT rotation. And number 5, emergency ENT clinics. Go to as many as you can. I hope this has been of some value. I'm Dr. Arora. Like I said, we do loads of teaching for GP trainees, not just GP trainees, but getting into GP training. So MSRA, but PLAB 2 before that, PLAB 1, medical school, then of course AKT, RCA, post-CCT, and stuff within GP training as well. So have a look at the website, auroramenticaleducation.co.uk. If you want any of our resources, audio, online, live, mocks, flashcards, posters, please use the coupon Arora Video 10, ARORAVIDEO10. Don't miss out on that 10% discount, auroramenticaleducation.co.uk. 5 things I learned in my ENT rotation. If you're doing other rotations, we have videos with things like pediatrics and ONG and A&E and my GPST2 rotation. Have a look on the YouTube channel for those as well. Dr. Arora, have a good day. #Campus will pass. #I went with Arora. Take care.